going to be another solo flawless Master Empire hunt, mainly for the Pinnacle reward. This isn't going to be platinum because platinum rank is not tied to the Pinnacle reward. So it's not going to be for platinum. So this is going to be straight to the point. What's the least amount of work required to get your Pinnacle reward? Also, want a hunter. We're using bottom tree Nightstalker, Wormhusk crown, because the master modifier this week is Togetherness. So we need our health regen. So we're running that. As soon as you go up the lift, you want to do a nade here, and most of the enemies will get in the nade and die to that nade. Good. Pretty basic with that. It'll just be explaining the triggers of everything. As my setup, we're running double primary Xenophage, which is one of the best setups in the game, and Xenophage is a pretty common exotic, so pretty much anyone can have a go at this and do it. In terms of my mods on my armor, it's just a cell setup, so Wrath of Rasputin, Rage of Rasputin, Global Reach, Warmind's Protection, stuff like that. We've got Dynamo on as well, so every time we dodge we get super energy. Why I done one then. But for this section you want to get through in 2 smokes. We do smoke at the bridge, dodge. We run up, we're keeping an eye on our vanishing smoke timer, and then as soon as we hit 0, re-invis, wait at the champ. Get a dodge next to the champ for your smoke back, and then we can proceed. Then we're going to wait a bit, just for our dodge back. We could get through this next room without a smoke, but we want that super energy, because at a certain point we do want our super. So this section you can skip the trigger, there's no trigger. The only time there'll be a trigger is when I'm actually clearing ads, which I'll point that out. Which with this one you can skip 60-70% of it. There's not a lot that needs to be took out. At this section where there's a brig, you can skip it. Make sure you do your smoke pretty late, and you can get through it in 1 smoke. Sometimes you'll get stomped like that, but that's fine. Then we'll wait for our invis again, our dodge, sorry, and then we're going to smoke past everything. Now the triggers in this room are the Marauders and the Overlord Champion. So what we want to do is clear the 2 Marauders. I actually didn't test, just clear the Marauders alone. Will that open the door? I'm not 100%, but I think the Overlord's tied to it. End up taking the Overlord, but these stairs, as you can see, I don't get any fire. You're looking for the 2 Marauders, you get them down. Some shanks will push you, just primary them down, but when it's safe to do so, you're going to do an invis and then dodge your invis back. And then what we're looking to do here is get the Overlord. We're just waiting, which he wasn't in a good spot. As soon as he is, we're going to get a stun and this melt. So we've got Surgeator on as well, so when we get a stun we get our nade, and we're just melting with Xenophage. We're looking for the cell, which we're guaranteed it. Shoot the cell, run through. And then that's that room, basically. So it just saves having to deal with the brig, it just saves having to deal with a lot of stuff. Next room we're going to have some anti-barriers, which everything's pretty much required to be killed, because the anti-barriers will make everything immune, including the arc boss. So these arc shields in this is why we've got an arc primary on. There's no solar shields because hot knife isn't on. For those that don't know, hot knife is a modifier that can actually come on during these Master Empire hunts, meaning that all the shanks have solar shields, and it happens to be that shanks are in every one of them about. But there's no solar to worry about. But obviously we've got Xeno on just because of its utility, and its ammo. Now we're going to invis past all that and come up to our safe area, which is here. Take out all the shanks. Forget about the anti-barriers at this point. We'll get a dodge for health there because we're getting hit a bit. And we're just going to clear as many shanks at the top as we can. We'll get a second spawn of shanks, as you can see. I'm going to do a nade at the stairs to stop them going down the stairs. If they go down the stairs, then we'll go in my nade, so they've got no choice. I'm doing that because if you let them, the shanks will just go to the anti-barriers, and then you'll have way more shanks with the anti-barrier to deal with. And obviously the shanks are going to then become immune. We've got a tether to use, but you don't really need to use it here, so I would advise don't use it here. You're better off not. So you want to get yourself into a good position around about here is not too bad. That way we can put some shots. We do 2 Xenophage shots, get a shield break, and then we're just going to melt the rest. And then shoot the self, because we're guaranteed a self. We'll get a shield break here as well. And at that point, we can take things a little bit slower. We don't want to waste all our Xenophage here, because we need some later on. You need to have a bit. We'll just keep primary in here. Pretty weak at this point. Like so. We can just finish off the second anti-barrier. Then any shanks, and then we've got the arc boss. The arc boss can be annoying because he just keeps teleporting out of everything. I have disruption break on this pulse, so we can use that to our advantage, but still it's pretty slow. We've got a brick on the floor, but that's an ammo finder brick, okay? Which means it's not like a full heavy brick. So we haven't got a ton of heavy right now, so we're just gonna save on ammo, nade when we can, which we can do that by farming grenade energy off him by just smoke and dodge and smoke and dodge, and that gives us grenade energy, of course, like so. As you can see, he can be annoying. This is the most annoying part of it, I'd say. Pretty simple, as you can see though. You're safe up top. There's not much problem up here in terms of surviving. As you can see, he just keeps. He's just a very annoying. So, like I said, you could use your super, but I think also super's more important at the next section that we're going to be dealing with. I'm going to use a bit of Xenophage just to sort of hurry this along. Anytime weak, of course, smoke dodge, just to get that great energy and the health back. Another thing I could have done is smoked him. That would have been useful, doing that. For those that don't know, this smoke is actually dual purpose, so not only can you envisage yourself, you can blind enemies with this smoke. Like, so it's basically a better version of the top tree smoke, where you can smoke enemies and disorient them. Well, this smoke bomb does it as well, so it envisages you, and it can blind enemies. I should have probably smoked him, to be fair. That's fine. He dropped us heavy as well, which is good. Proceed. This next section you can skip as well. There'll be a brig and stuff. The brigs are fairly tanky as well. Now, obviously this is a power level thing. But if you're above 1271, the adds are within your power level range, meaning that it's not too difficult. If you're below 1271, I would refrain from doing this. However, you can still do it if you're below that. I get a lot of questions about these Empire hunts in particular. Oh, you've got to be 1280 to do them. You don't have to be 1280 to do them. The first one I ever done, I was 1270. So, you can do them at that level. It's just harder at that point. So this section, we're going to get a shield break and then just tether. This is where we want to do a tether. We've skipped all the overloads and the brigs with our invis and stuff. Some of the shanks may come into this room, so we can just keep tethering those. Just clear out all the adds. What then will happen is the adds will despawn in the previous room, like so, and the next room will open. The trigger is the arc boss and the melee fallen. The shanks are not the trigger, but they push you. The overloads are not the trigger. With this room can be hard, but if you play it right, it's okay. 2 Xenophage shots, come back, get a shield break, and then just Xenophage the whole way. It's critical you get it down straight away, and then get the cell, and that clears out the full room. So yeah, we're low on heavy, but you don't need much heavy for the boss anyways, as your super does a lot of the work, your grenade can do a lot of the work, so it's fine. And we're going to get heavy at the boss. You know. Okay, so with this boss and how it works, there's 3 plates and there's the row at the back. So this boss fight is dangerous, but it isn't at the same time. His arc move, if he freezes you and there's a lot of adds alive, that could be a wipe. Every time he does his freeze move, you need to be near cover. Now on the right plate and the left plate, there's always cover. At the very back is the best cover, which I'm going to right now. You can literally just duck behind there, the boss won't touch you. He won't bother you so much. He sometimes will creep up to you, but it's very slow and it's noticeable. As soon as he gets close, obviously what you're going to do, you're going to jump to right or left, out of his way. Simple as that. So obviously the adds a priority. Every phase, there's 4 phases as you can see. It's gated by his HP. If you get any adds pushing you like that, obviously his Xenophage to take him. But once he gets to a 4th of his HP took off, you'll get Void Servitors. So there's a lot of Void Servitors. Now I have an Osmosis Scout Rifle on, which this Scout Rifle is no longer obtainable. And as far as I'm aware in the game right now, there is not a Scout Rifle that rolls with Osmosis. There's a hand cannon that rolls with that, but we need the Scout for the overload. So I understand that people won't have this Osmosis Scout. Basically, the Scout can turn into Void, Arc or Solar, whatever subclass you're using. I'm using a Void, perfect. When I do my nade, I can therefore take any shields. Obviously if I swap, I lose the perk, I lose my Void. So we only swap when we want to swap. And it's just a good way. It means I can save on Xenophage for later on in the fight. There's no bricks on the floor. I'm not using any heavy, I'm managing my ammo. So we're just going to scout from a distance while listening to the boss for any audio cues. As soon as you hear any freeze sounds or something like that, duck behind cover. You don't want to get frozen. I never end up getting frozen once in this whole thing, so it goes to show, use your cover, not a problem. We're just using our scout. If you don't have the Osmosis Scout Rifle, so as I was saying, you could use Night Watch, which is a better scout than this, technically with explosive, if you have an explosive payload 1. And then all you do is grenade, dodge, invis, grenade, and just grenade all these enemies. And then once a shield's down on one of the servitors, you can just scout him down. If you've got more ammo than I did, you can use a Xenophage, like 1 or 2 Xenophages to speed it up. But you've always got a source of void energy, because that's the thing with a nade. With the hunters, you can farm nades up so easy. 2-3 dodges, you've got your nade back. So it's not essential to have the Osmosis Scout, but it helps out ammo wise. Yeah. Now when you get to the last servitor, you want to be in position for DPS. Now we've got a tether, so we're going to use that. So the adds spawn where the boss is. So the plate that I'm shooting at now is obviously where all the adds spawn, meaning that we can take all the adds and get boss damage, as you can see. He's still tethered, so we'll do a couple of Xeno. It's worth it. Do that. That means that complete phase is done. So we are low on Xenophage, I understand that, but we've got the machine gun ammo finder, which will kick in. It usually does when you're low on ammo. That's why it's so important to match. Always match your weapon perks. In terms of resistance mods, now the resistance mods work differently now. There used to be a resistance mod in every armor slot, so you could run 5 concussive dampeners, you could run an arc damage resistant, a void damage resistant, solar damage resistant, all that stuff. Now you can't, you can run 2 maximum on the chest plate. They've done that in a means to balancing it. Whether I totally agree with it, I don't know. I think they went a bit too far. I think they should allow us to run, let us run 5 resistance mods, because you're investing into something and you should be rewarded for saying, right, how much do I know about this activity? Well, I know a lot. I know that I need this. I know I need 2 concussive, 1 minor resist, and 2 solar damage resist. That's knowledge and you're rewarding yourself by knowing that and getting that set up, the balance right. So I think it was better the way it used to be, and not so much now where you've only got 2 on the chest plate. So you've got to come to an answer. Do you run reserves, double reserves, or do you run resistance ones? Well, that answer will be different depending on your power level. At power level, you should be running probably 1 resistance mod and a reserve pack. You could get away with running no resistance ones and both reserve packs to have the double reserve instead. If you are under power, you match whatever is going on. So for example, last week, Exodus Crash, it was Grandmaster, arc down resistance double. It meant that we could survive sniper shots when otherwise it would be a one shot. So the resistance is more important when you're underpowered for an activity. That is the point of it. But when you're at power, you can get away with 1 or none at all. I could have run double reserves, to be honest. But I put it on as well just to show that it is such a good perk. Like all the resistance mods are, to be fair. So now we're to a last of a 3rd HP. We're going to use plenty of Xenophage. Why are we doing that? Well, because we're going to have a tether, and a tether will do a 4th of this boss's HP. So we're fine, we're sorted for the last phase. All we need to do now is clear the servitors, get serpent energy, and we're done. Also, another thing to explain what was going on there. If you need an ad with bottom tree, or top tree even, then you go invis immediately. The ad does not know what to do and will shoot it where you were last located, meaning that the ad will not teleport or step out of your nade. So get used to the Nightstalker play of when you need an ad, instant invis, get a dodge, and then you maximize your grenade damage. Whereas if you need an ad and you don't go invis, what is the ad gonna do? The AI of the ad is built in to jump out of your nade. So that's the biggest thing with a hunter when you're trying to maximize your playstyle on it. Yeah, I'm not a hunter main. I mean, I guess I play all 3. I have a lot of experience in all 3. But that's one of the biggest things on bottom tree and Nightstalker is knowing how things work and the best way to use things. So we, like I said, we'll get a tether in the last phase. The boss was in an awkwardish place, but we've got Xenophage to finish it. That was how to easily get your Pinnacle reward. You'll see at the end I end up getting a 1260 piece. So it definitely is Pinnacle. You don't need to do the platinum rank. I've done this run before with Anarchy, but we'll do it with Xenophage, because Xenophage is just as useful for this, if not more at times, when you're shooting to sell off a champ and clearing out waves of ads. That's very good. But that was the run on that for the hunter. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Will go on. New champions will rise in her name. We must stay always vigilant.